Okay, so welcome everyone to the webinar. We're now recording, and I'm very, very, very thankful that you guys have all made the effort to be here at 8 o'clock and know that it is hard putting kids to sleep. And I really, really value your time. We've had almost 150 mums sign up. So I'm really grateful that some of you have actually managed to get on the call live. Woohoo! So there is a little chat box down the bottom. So please, if you have any little comments, please let me know if I'm making sense. And if you're resonating with what I'm saying. And we're definitely going to have a Q&A at the end of this webinar. So if you have a really, really burning question, you can pop it in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer it. But otherwise, we're definitely going to have some time for some questions at the end. So let's get started. So from chaos to calm in one mindful moment. That just sounds like a bit of a fantasy for most mums, but it's 100% possible. Because what's going on around you is generally chaos, and what's going on inside of you is completely you're in control. Yes, Georgia, my house is in chaos, but I'm here. Woohoo! So there you go. Your house is in chaos, but you're having a nice, calm moment, hopefully now. So you're always in control of yourself, and having that element of being able to kind of put yourself in a beautiful little bubble and elevate yourself above the chaos. And this is why I'm so passionate about mindfulness, because it allows us to really, be really mindful in that moment. So it is chaotic and it's crazy and it's wild, but we have the ability to kind of elevate ourselves above that chaos. And practicing mindfulness is just, in my opinion, really life-saving for many mums and many families that I've actually worked with as well. So if anyone's got any tech problems, you can send a little message in the text box, and it's being hosted as well. So there is someone helping me with this. So if you can't hear me, please let me know and we'll get that sorted out for you. So my story. My story is one of sadness, but also one of joy. And I think with many great stories, and, our children love stories. And I think as adults, we resonate through stories. So from divorce to divinity. So I have a 6-year-old little boy called Leo. He's full of energy and he's a gorgeous boy. And I have a beautiful 7-month-old daughter, Luna. And there's a bit of a gap between them because there was a divorce when my son was about to turn 2. And it was very sudden for me, and I was really heartbroken. It literally, I'll paint the picture. It was Christmas Eve, 8 years to the day we'd met. My husband at the time, who I was very much in love with, literally just turned around and said, "I don't love you anymore." And that was pretty much the end of our marriage. What had happened is it really lost our connection. We'd been together for 9 years, and we'd been really, really happy. But over time, our connection had gone. And I'd actually also really struggled with motherhood. I struggled to breastfeed. I had a really traumatic birth. And, over a period of about 2 years, unfortunately, our marriage ended. So now I've repartnered and I have a beautiful baby daughter. So my son's a wonderful baby sister. And it's been a real journey for me. And what's come out of that, life-changing situation is actually wonderful. I've now created a business. I've got Yoga Mamata, which is my, there's kids yoga and family yoga. And mindfulness retreats for mums. I ran a retreat on Tuesday at Billabong, and we had 13 beautiful mummies coming, and I taught them mindfulness. And then I've got Leonie Percy as well, which is full of articles, and I've got online programs, all kinds of wonderful things happening. So that's just a little bit about me, because we're not here about, you're here to learn about mindfulness. So I also just wanted to share with you my book, Mother Om. Anyone got a copy of my book? Because it's actually won an award, which is really wonderful. And yay, Michelle's got one. And Laurie, hi Laurie, no worries about being late. Just grateful that you're here. Thanks, Kyla. It's really encouraging that you love my book. So Mother Om, it's really all about having a connected motherhood journey, and it's also about raising connected and balanced children. And it won an award at the Living Now Book Awards last year, and I also entered it into the Writer's Digest a huge, platform in the US, and I didn't win, but the judges' review came back with a 5 out of 5 ranking, and they said, this is a spectacular book. So I was quite chuffed with that because I wrote it when I was a single mum, and I just channeled all that love and energy into a book that's now making a massive difference in the world, and I've had lots of media. So that's just a little bit about me. So let's talk about, why do we think it's important to be a mindful mum? Mindfulness is such a buzzword. Everyone's talking about mindfulness and why it's so important. And I think it really boils down to, we just want to be happy. And there's my cute little positive affirmation of my happy monkey. All want to be happy. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel supported and nurtured and connected. And Oprah Winfrey, in all the interviews she ever did, she said the most, profound trait that us humans have is that sense of belonging and that sense of connection. And this is where I believe mindfulness plays a really great role in helping you find more connection to yourself, to your children. And as a result, you're going to have this connected family. So why be mindful? We all want more joy, and we all want less stress. We know motherhood is stressful. We've got so many hats that we wear. We're running around, just doing so many things at once. So we want to reduce that stress, and we want to find more joy in our role as a mother. We also want to feel less guilty. We do spend some of our time feeling really guilty because we're not present. Or like today, I dropped my son off at school and it was mufti day, and I didn't read the emails, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, darling. Like, you're in your uniform and everyone else is, we call it mufti in England. So I don't know if you call that here. Is it mufti day? But I felt terrible, but, let it go. He was fine with it. And I just moved on and, carried on with my day. Learning how to let go is such a huge lesson. And me personally, when I was going through my divorce, I couldn't let go of what had happened. I was so, so playing the victim, really. And, why did this happen? Why was I a single mom? I was a good wife, and I really loved my husband. So just learning to let go is so important. And, the song Frozen, Let It Go, it might annoy people over the world, but it is just really such a great lesson. It's literally a daily practice of every moment of every day. If we learn to just let it go, we're going to save ourselves so much stress and guilt. We all want to have calm, happy children. I've never met a mum who doesn't want calm, happy kids. And, the desire for us to now have this connected family, whether we're blended family, whether we're a rainbow family, it doesn't matter. I mean, my version of family is it's beautiful, but it's dysfunctional. That's what family is. And that's okay. And for us to create a beautiful connected family, however that works for us, I find that really, really important, because divorce rates are at 40%. I was in those statistics, and it really is very, very hard to remain amicable. And then, of course, it's the children that suffer. And whether you're a single mom, you can still have a really beautiful connected family, even if it's just you and your child. And we all need more energy. Mums definitely are running on empty. They're quite depleted, and we want to have more energy. So, when you've got good energy, the quality of your life depends on how much energy you have. And we know that, when we're feeling tired and stressed, we're going to be more frustrated. We definitely want to cultivate more love. And to cultivate love, it's like a seed and a plant. We need to spend more time with people if we want to cultivate more love with them. So that includes our children, and that includes our partners. So mindfulness comes in to be mindful in the decisions that you're making. Is this decision going to serve me in the best way for me to have more joy, feel less stress? I don't want to feel so guilty all the time. I want to be let go. I want my kids to be calm. I want a connected family. I want more energy, and I want to cultivate more love. So this is, where mindfulness has such value for us, because you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to put your Lululemon on, take a selfie doing yoga. It's just about being present in the moment. But one thing I really do want to say, that if you're not prepared to commit, because mindfulness is a practice, then this what I'm going to show you isn't going to work for you. So I'm really passionate about just commit to one moment a day. My book is called Mother Rom, Connect with Yourself and Your Child in 1 moment a day. It's all you need, just 1 moment. So can I have some feedback? Can you commit to having 1 mindful moment a day? Because if you do have 1 mindful moment a day, you're going to start to see this beautiful flow, and you're going to start to cultivate more love and have this great energy and have this family. And yes, we're getting some beautiful feedback. So, just 1 moment, I know for mums is, you've got 1 moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm not going to make you sit on a cushion for 20 minutes. It's just not possible. So yay for committing to 1 moment. So let's have a look at what happens when we're not being mindful. And let's have a look at what's happening, when there's chaos around us. And, we have a lot of challenges when we're running around and we're stressed and we're kind of almost manifesting this chaos to happen. That's what I believe was happening to me. I was stuck in the challenge for about 18 months and I couldn't get out, couldn't find the joy, I couldn't find the connection. And I was actually manifesting the chaos. And we all know people that just have constant drama in their life. It's like one thing after the other. You speak to them and it's like their life's just like a soap opera. It's like, what's going on with that? They're just kind of manifesting this chaos. And, we obviously do feel really stressed, and mothers are depleted. And we're so distracted because we're so plugged into technology all the time. And we are exhausted because we're getting up in the night to our children, and we're running businesses, and we've got really full on jobs, and we're wives and daughters and sisters, and we've just got so much going on. And so we can feel very, very overwhelmed. And as a result of all of that, we're going to feel frustrated. We're going to feel guilty. I mean, I was going through a real kind of angry. I was so angry that I was, that my ex-husband did this to me. And I was projecting this anger and frustration onto my beautiful little 2-year-old who was having massive tantrums because I was so frustrated. So, being stuck in this challenge, you are creating this chaos. Being really emotional and just not being able to feel grounded or balanced in any way. And vulnerability is, what's really interesting about a lot of these challenges is not necessarily negative, because when we're stressed, we know if we're being mindful that we need to de-stress. And when we're depleted and we have no energy, we know we need to rest. And when we feel really distracted, we know we need to get offline and unplug and go out in nature. And I wrote my book, Mother Rom, because I felt so guilty and I was so frustrated. So the challenge isn't necessarily negative, but what's happening is you're manifesting a lot more chaos. So vulnerability, if you know Brené Brown, if anyone is familiar with her work, it's extraordinary. And she talks about vulnerability being at the birthplace of something beautiful. So it's not negative, but we want to make sure that we're not so vulnerable that we've got our heart so wide open that we're just getting hurt all the time. And with our kids, it's like our heart's outside our body and they're just walking around without being protected. We've got that sense of vulnerability, but we need to protect ourselves as well. Most mummies, I don't know, do you feel like this, mums, that you're just stuck on autopilot? It's like Groundhog Day and you just can't get out of the autopilot. It's really hard to get out of that. And we're so overstimulated that we can't sleep. And I know that even our children are struggling to sleep, because when I teach kids yoga, I'll say, who struggles going to sleep? And half of them put their hands up, which I just find extraordinary. Little kids really, Michelle, I know you're a bad sleeper, my love, but you know what? It's about just taking a moment, to rest your mind and not being plugged into technology. And, even with your kids, like we've got no technology before we go to bed. It's about reading and Lego. And I mean, my son plays with chakra cards and we burn essential oils, and we're all about that calm down before bed. So this slide is actually a little boy giving his mummy flowers. And I saw this slide and thought, that's beautiful. There's this little boy. And to me, that mum looks really distracted and disconnected. It's almost like she's at work. She's just not being present. And it kind of made me sad, because I felt like there's this beautiful child trying to connect with his mother and the mother's not there. And ultimately what's happening is we're missing our kids, we're missing their childhood because we're so distracted. We're actually not present. And mums say to me, I'm a really good multitasker. I'm like, that's awesome. And women have this amazing ability to multitask, but it means you're never doing one thing well. It means you're never focusing. And as a result, you've got this massive sense of disconnection. So mindfulness gives us this beautiful sense of connection. So calm, what does it then feel like when we are able to remain calm in a situation? And I have to be honest with you, I'm not a calm person. I am feisty. I'm a Sagittarius. Got my rising sun is Leo. I mean, I'm like out there and I struggle with this. My journey has taught me, that I need to really manage my reactions to my children, and I really need to self-care, and I really need to, work really hard to maintain this sense of calm, because it just doesn't come naturally to me. And I know there are some mums out there, and they really are very calm in the way they parent. And I think that's wonderful. But for me, I was shouted at a lot when I was a child. And what happens, you parent how you were parented. So you're going to see yourself doing things and go, oh, my mum did that and my dad did that, and I just can't believe I've done that. And, this is how, habits and thought patterns in our brain are being formed from such an early age. So we need to be really mindful in terms of, how we need to really manage. Yes, Rebecca, I thought I was the only one. I'm so far from calm. Like I have to practice this every day. I'm not a calm guru. I have to work at it. And I think, it's okay to admit that, we've got so much going on. So when we do feel connected, we are going to be calmer. And when we're calmer, our children are going to be calmer, because our children just reflect us like a mirror. And we know that when we've woken up and we feel good and we've had a good night's sleep and we're in the zone, our kids are just really behaving and they're listening and they're putting on their school uniform, and you're kind of like, wow. But when you wake up and you're tired and you're running out the door and you're shouting, hurry up, it all just turns into chaos. And I saw Steve Biddle present a couple of weeks ago, and he said one thing that just resonated with me so much. He said 2/3 of your children's tantrums are when you're in a hurry. Does anyone resonate with that? Because I was like, yep, that's me. And I've really tried so hard in the mornings to just have a better flow and not be so much in a hurry. So, when we feel calmer, we're obviously going to feel more loved. We're going to feel more present. We're going to have more connection. And I'm definitely going to talk about, how we can be more mindful. But cultivating love and being grateful. Being grateful is just such a game changer. Be really grateful for what you have in that moment. It's just so, so powerful. Instead of projecting what you want or into the future, or feeling that anxiety about what may happen, or being stuck in the past, that's gone. You can't change that. But it's about being right now in the moment. And so much gratitude comes out with that, with being present. And of course, feeling more grounded. I mean, my top tip for mums is just take your shoes off and just walk on the earth. If you need to feel more grounded, just that energy from Mother Earth, it's there to support you. And kids love running around with no shoes on. They are so connected spiritually already. You can learn so much from your children. So the next time you're at the beach, or even right now, can you all just take your shoes off and just put your feet on the ground and just feel that beautiful connection to the ground? And you feel more energy when you feel grounded. Great. Michelle's already got her shoes off. I love you. And, feeling more balance. We all need more balance. Sometimes it flows really well and other times it doesn't. And that's just life. This is just the world that we live in. But, when we're being mindful, we feel more balanced, and nourishment is massive. And it's not just mindful eating and being healthy is a big part of it, but being nourished by your partner, being nourished by your community, being nourished by your friends. And, I often say to people, how are your relationships? Is there someone in your life who is just offloading their toxic negativity on you? Like, can you think of someone that you need to say, you are not nourishing me and I need to self-care, and this relationship's not working? Because it's all an exchange of energy. So right now you're feeding off my energy, and even though I can't see you, I'm getting these beautiful messages, and I'm really feeding off your energy. And this is this beautiful exchange, even though we can't see it. So our children, absolutely, woohoo, you can feel my energy. Awesome. Our children really, really can feel this. And these are actually our chakras. they're going in and out in this exchange. So when we feel nourished and supported, we're able to then really parent and mother our children in this beautiful way. And support is it's so important in our modern day world. And I really feel that, I'm from the UK, my partner now is from Finland. We're really parenting alone. And, it takes a village to raise a child or a family. And we've kind of lost that sense of support. So, feeling more supported in our journey is really important. And, all of the beautiful attributes, we're going to feel more peaceful and we're going to feel calm. So we've got chaos happening. How are we feeling when it's chaotic? And then how are we feeling, when we're in the flow and life is calm? So this is how you get there, mums. There are 6 elements, in my personal opinion, to being a connected, content and calm mother. And I'm going to definitely share with you those 6 elements. And I really hope you take away some value, because you can watch the slides, you can write down the information, but you're actually only ever going to absorb 10% of what I'm saying, because this is how our brain works. And I don't worry, I'm not judging you. I just know that's going to happen. So, just note down maybe even just one element to start with, and then you can progress along your journey. So mothering in the moment, to me, is mothering from our heart space. And a lot about what I teach is coming out of that busy mind, out of the craziness in your head, and going into your heart, because your heart is just love, and it's just compassion, and it's infinite, and it's beautiful. But up in your head, you've got the self-critic going on, the inner self-talk, which is often quite negative, the judgmental mind, the feeling guilty, the anger, the frustration. And it's kind of like this monologue that's just going on in your head. So when we're grateful and when we're impressed, we're actually mothering from our heart, and we're going to feel more connection with ourselves and our children. We definitely need to understand and learn about why we're stressed and how we need to manage stress and how we can be mindful about that. Because in my personal opinion, if you don't release the stress from your body, it will come out in something that's toxic, whether that's a cold, or in my opinion, it could be worse. We all know people go to the doctor and they cannot find anything physically wrong. It is stress. It is stress manifesting in your body, and it has to come out somehow. So knowing how to manage stress is a really important part of finding that sense of connection. Self-care is huge. And what's really interesting is it's almost like we need to have more than one child to kind of really understand the importance of self-care. I know that now that I'm a mum of 2. We can kind of manage with one child, maybe a career and a partner, but, when there's 2 kids and 3 kids, does anyone have, 2 or 3 kids? It becomes so difficult for you to maintain that sense of self-care. But of course, it also becomes so much more important. So we need to learn how to self-care, and we need to not feel guilty about it as well. And of course, we need to learn how to let go. This is such a wonderful practice. Congratulations, Renee, having her 3rd baby in 15 weeks. That's exciting. Having babies is beautiful. And congrats, Sarah, just had your 2nd baby. Woohoo! Yeah, managing that juggle with 2 children. I mean, I've got 2 kids and 2 businesses. I'm kind of done, I've got enough going on. So, having children is wonderful, and we love our children, but, managing the juggle gets more, time gets, even more segregated as we have more children and we go back to work, and, we take on more roles in our community. So I'm going to share with you some mindfulness practices, and I'm definitely going to share with you some gratitude practices. And I hope you like my pretty graphic of the sign, because it's a journey. Motherhood's a journey. It's not, you don't just, when you're born, it's like there's a birth in that. You're being born as a mother. It's not just the birth of your child. And so my little kind of sign at the bottom, which also says, mom with an O, but, finding that sense of being a peaceful mother and finding more joy is really how we want to be living our life on a daily basis. Mindfulness meditation, what is that, and how can we practice it as a busy mum? And what should we expect when we sit down and we actually take a moment? And a lot of people think meditation, you're going to stop the mind thinking, and you're going to sit down and you're really going to just have this like Zen-like moment, and you're kind of going to be enlightened, and there's going to be unicorns and rainbows, and that certainly hasn't worked for me. And I've been meditating for a while now, and it really is, you start with one moment, and then you gradually build it up to a couple of moments. And then in time, you will be able to sit on a cushion for 5 minutes. You will be able to do a guided meditation for 20 minutes. You will be able to sit there for an hour. But it's really baby steps to start with. And don't have big expectations of that meditation is going to fix and heal you, just by sitting there and closing your eyes. Because what actually happens is when you do sit there, close your eyes, the monologue gets louder, and it's like, what's going on in your mind? It's actually really quite hard to focus on something just by kind of going into that zone, because we are so overstimulated. It's actually like training a puppy. If you imagine a puppy jumping up and down, and it's kind of wild and it's excited, and your mind gets drawn from one thought and here and there. But we know that we can train a puppy, and we know we can put that puppy on a lead, and we know that in time that puppy will be obedient. So that's actually, if you're going to start to learn how to be mindful and practice these moments, have that expectation that it's something that you do need to practice. And the meditation myths, you're not going to stop the mind thinking. The mind we have 70,000 thoughts a day. Our mind is made to think. So it's not about getting the mind to stop thinking. It's about just being in the moment and paying attention to what you're thinking about, but doing it like you're an observer. It's almost like you're watching yourself, and you're not judging yourself either. You're just present in the moment. And you start to then find this sense of peace that's within you. And of course, like I'm saying, the more mindful moments you have, the more you can find peace. I can find peace in one breath. Would anyone else like to know how to find peace in just one breath? Because that's taken me a few years to get to that point. So when I'm in the moment and I'm frustrated, and I can see the chaos, and I'm kind of getting absorbed into what's happening, I know I can self-soothe, because I've trained myself to just take a breath, let it go, and then move on. So creating a space, I think, is really important. Creating a space in your home. The reason we practice meditation or mindfulness is to create more space in our life. We're so cluttered. Our mind is cluttered, and even our space. I mean, just being mindful of, is your living area in your house clean and tidy? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I go to some people's houses and there's toys everywhere. And I feel like, the kids can be doing that during the day, and that's beautiful, but like clear it all away, and then light a candle and have, something that separates. Kids are in bed. This is my time now. And whether you choose to work or hang out with your partner or whatever it is, that's your time. So, creating space in your life that's a mindfulness practice in itself, is really going to allow you to feel more grounded as a result of that. And burning oils is a really wonderful way of doing that, because as you'll see, I'm going to explain, mindfulness is about using the senses. What's really important as well is finding a practice that works for you. Some people dance and that's their meditation. Other people go running, or they will literally meditate on a cushion, or they'll cook, or they'll write, or they'll do something that helps them feel calm. And it's really important that you find your own practice, because we're all very unique as individuals. So what's going to work for you might not work for someone else. And we all learn in different ways as well. So some people like auditory, they want music, they feel really calm when they listen to music. And other people need a visual stimulus to help them, focus that mind. And other people want to be kinesthetic, and they want to move, and they need to do yoga to relax and physically get that movement out of their body. So, find your practice. Using a mantra is wonderful, because a mantra is just a word that you repeat in your mind that's going to help you stay present. And a beautiful mantra that I share with mums, and this was given to me by one of my beautiful yoga teachers, that was given to her by Amma, who's the hugging mother. She's this amazing Indian guru, and I'm now passing it down to you as your teacher. So a beautiful mantra, just to inhale and say the word ma in your mind. and then exhale and say the word Om. So let's just do that now. Let's just take 3 breaths. We're going to inhale the word Ma, exhale the word Om. Inhale the word Ma, exhale the word Om. Inhale the word Ma, exhale the word Om. And just do a couple in your own time. So Ma is mother and Om is peace. So just by having a really simple mantra that you can switch on at any point in your day is going to help you feel more connected and calm. Did anyone resonate with that? Did that make you feel just in that one moment, just taking a moment and kind of focusing your mind and feeling a little bit different? It's about being reminded. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that some of you actually, you were able to see that moment to focus the mind and channel some of that peaceful energy. That's beautiful. Thanks, Mariana. So we need to be reminded 100% because we are so busy. Thanks, Renee. That's beautiful. We're so busy that we need to be reminded. So here are my tips for being reminded to be mindful. The clouds are a wonderful analogy. So the clouds, you will see clouds every day when you're walking around, and most of us don't take much notice of what's happening in our universe and in our environment. But clouds in the sky are the most wonderful analogy. So when you look at the beautiful blue sky that is infinite, like your mind, absolutely infinite. But the clouds are this analogy that they're actually like your thoughts. And they come and go. And some days we feel heavy and emotional and stressed, and we feel grey, like we've got all these clouds above us. And other days we feel light and free and we have energy. And look, there's no particular reason why we may have one emotion over another. I mean, research has been done about why do we even feel emotions? Well, they're just sparks of energy. So, being so attached to our emotions all the time, it's like we need to just let go of that and be okay with it. If we're going to feel sad, it's okay. Just have a cry, get rid of that emotion, and then move on. So knowing that when you see the clouds, they're like your thoughts and they come and go, and each day is different. Each moment is different. Like every time you look at the beautiful clouds, you can just be reminded in that moment to just take a breath, and you can breathe into the clouds. And you can do this with your children. It's really beautiful to lie down in a park and look at shapes in the clouds and, the faces, and get that sense of imagination and just breathe into the cloud. So using nature is a really wonderful way of being mindful in your daily routine. And another great analogy, does anyone have their daily fix? Like I love my soy latte. I have my coffee every day. So, we go and we love having coffee or tea or chai. And, we generally will see a chalkboard on most days. There's always going to be at your daily cafe, the specials. And we've actually painted our fridge with chalk paint. And we actually use our chalkboard to write beautiful, mindful messages to each other. It could be little love notes or positive affirmations. And it's really beautiful because these are really lovely messages that are cultivating more love towards each other. But the chalkboard analogy is a great one to remember because when you see a chalkboard and you've got chalk, from yesterday and the day before and the week before, and you see all those fragments of the chalk on the board, and then someone comes along with a cloth and really wipes that clean. So that is what meditation does for your mind. So when you're sitting and you're having a moment and you're feeling that sense of connection, you're actually starting to clear away the fragments in your mind that you just don't need anymore. Because like I was explaining, your mind's a record player. You are having the same thoughts over and over and over again. And these are habitual thought patterns you've had since you were a child. But the good news is being mindful and practicing mindfulness allows you to actually change your thought process. And that's really exciting. So how do we practice mindfulness? So we use the senses. And as mums, there's so many wonderful little tips and tricks that you can do in your day to help you feel more mindful. So smell and flowers. I mean, is there anyone on the call that likes flowers? I mean, I love flowers, and they're so beautiful. And what you can do is you can go out and you can pick beautiful flowers. And this is wonderful to do with your child. You go out and you pick a flower for kindness, a flower for love, a flower for gratitude. You know, pick a flower for Paris. I mean, you know, the world needs more loving kindness right now. Just whatever it is that works for you. And then you come home and you put those flowers in your kitchen, and you've done this beautiful mindfulness practice. And then you've got this visual reminder that's really beautiful right on your kitchen table. And of course, you know, flowers have such a beautiful scent. So, you know, using that sense of smell, you know, little things that you can do that will help you feel more relaxed. I mean, I'm a massive fan of burning essential oils. And, you know, even just lighting a candle with some aromatherapy in it, because a smell has the power to just instantly ground us and anchor us into the present moment. So a great tip is hand cream or lip balms or some kind of cream, and put it in your handbag. So you've actually got a mindfulness meditation in your handbag. And when you're rustling around trying to find your keys and you're going to be late, just get your hand cream, smell it, rub it on your hands, inhale the scent, and just have that mindful moment. And that sense of touch as well is actually just in that moment. You can let go of what's going on in your head. This is the whole point of mindfulness. And you come back down into that heart space, you let it go, and you move on. So these are all these little tips that you can do in your day to help you be more mindful. I'm a massive hugger. I'm such a hugger. And I stopped. Yes, Laurie, thank you. I feel calm just thinking about that. So in fact, you know, one of your tasks is to go and buy yourself some beautiful hand cream or some essential oil and put it in your handbag. So there you go. You can go and shop. I give you permission to go shopping for all these things that you're going to need so you can be a calm mummy. But I'm a big hugger. And a few years ago, I just decided that I wasn't going to shake hands anymore. I was like, you know, the world needs more love. So every time I have a meeting with someone, whether I know them or not, I say, look, I'd love to shake your hand, but I actually just love hugging. So if you want to give me a hug, I'm totally cool with that. And do you know what? No one has ever said no to me, ever. I give them the option because some people don't like to be hugged, but people love being hugged. They absolutely love it. So let's try and hug each other as much as we can, because a 20-second hug releases serotonin. We know that when a baby is crying, we can pick them up, we can hug them, and we can soothe them instantly. We know that when our child is really unsettled or is having an episode where it's not just flowing for them, if we can hug them and synchronize breath and do that for as long as you can, it will calm them down. It will calm you down, and you're back in that heart space. So hugging, we have this little bell, and it's got the word hug written on it, and it's in our living room, and we ring it when we want to hug, because sometimes the words just aren't there. And my son will ring the bell, because I say to him, when mummy's, told you 5 times and you're not listening, I'm going to start getting frustrated. So it's kind of like we ring the bell, we hug it out, and we move on. So that's kind of cute to have a little bell that you can ring if you need a hug. And, massaging. I mean, who doesn't love a massage? But, get your partner to massage you, get your kids to massage you. It's such a beautiful way to connect. And if you don't, feel comfortable with that, go have a massage. Just that sense of having someone massaging out all that stress. Yeah, the hug bell's too cute, Georgia. It really is. And yes, the hand cream, Caroline, it really, really works. Just having it in your handbag. You can put your bell in your handbag too, but you might sound like a reindeer, but that's all good. It's almost Christmas. And kiss each other, kiss each other as much as you can. And, yes, let's talk about sex, mums. Let's have sex. I know that some people, it's not, I have as much sex as I can. I'm going to be really open about it. An orgasm releases so many happy hormones, and you feel supported and you feel connected. And, this is Tantra. This is actually a yogic practice. Tantra is actually about a deep level of connection. So if you haven't had sex for a while, go have some sex. It's really, really just helps you feel connected, and it's sacred and it's beautiful. So mindful sound. Mindful sound is also wonderful, and we play lots of music. And if you don't know about Buddha Radio, does anybody listen to Buddha Radio? You can Google it. It's an app on your phone. It's so awesome. It plays like, you know, we're probably all around the same age, but it plays these cool, funky tunes. And then it says, and stop, and take a breath, and relax. And literally you're like, yeah. And then you just feel really relaxed. So Google Buddha Radio and, you know, get some calm music flowing in the house. My son actually has a playlist. And, you know, he loves singing and he loves dancing. So we kind of have our silly, crazy time where he puts his songs on and we're dancing around in the kitchen. And we're, you know, that's our mindful time to have a family dance off. It's never ending story. And, you know, we're just having fun and we're being connected in that moment. And, you know, we have these moments where it flows and it's beautiful and we feel connected. So, you know, in my car, I find, you know, it's a beautiful space to just play calm music and have a little sing along. And, you know, whenever I'm driving, I've always got mantra. I've always got something that's really soothing. You know, my car's like my kind of chill out zone. You know, we don't get much time. So, hey, Lizzie, woohoo, I'm so happy. I know there's a time difference where you are, so I'm so happy that you're here. Woohoo. Lydia, the radio station is called Buddha Radio. So Buddha, Buddha Radio. So, yes, Lizzie came right in on the sex part with 3 kids, girlfriend. Yeah, you know all about that. Awesome. So, yeah, Buddha Radio is wonderful. And just playing music that is going to, you know, instill a sense of calm into your home. That's really important. So we've got music. We, you know, go hang out at the ocean. It's really, really beautiful. We've got the sky. Look at the clouds. You know, use your bell, walk out in nature. And another really wonderful meditation to do is send out loving kindness when you hear a siren, because we know when there's an ambulance, we can, you know, we know someone's going to help someone else. So with your children, say, oh, thanks, Kyla, for putting that link in. That's awesome. You know, we can actually, your kids will say, if they're little, they'll say, there's a siren. And you can say, awesome, let's send out some loving compassion. And that's a little mindfulness practice that you can do. So mindful sight. So every day I have a mindful walk. It might only be going to get a coffee or walking my son to school. You know, today I went and I walked around the park with my daughter. I knew that I had the webinar and I just wanted to be really relaxed. And my to-do list is enormous, but I wanted to just have a walk and feel connected. So whenever you can, you know, see the world mindfully. I saw butterflies. I saw birds. I didn't take my phone with me. Unplug and play. Get out in nature and don't take technology with you. Just be connected in that moment. You know, you feel so grateful. I was so grateful that I could just sit there with my beautiful daughter and just have that moment today. So mindful sight is beautiful, and having a walk or lighting a candle, or like we were talking about the analogy of the sky, and using color. Color is really wonderful as well to really, you know, be mindful when you're getting dressed. You know, colors have a different effect and they are related to the chakras. And we don't have a lot of time to talk about chakras, but it's all energy. And, you know, colors can sedate us, excite us. They can, you know, they have such an effect. So be mindful of the colors that you're wearing. Now, the great thing about mindfulness is that you can put it into your daily routine. So my favorite things to do is when I'm hanging out the washing, I am grateful for my family. We do a lot of washing, mamas. You know, that's something that we do every day. So take the time to be grateful for your beautiful family when you're hanging out the washing. And drink a mindful cup of tea every day and do it really mindfully. Like even if there's chaos going on, be really mindful, pick a beautiful cup. You know, be really mindful about the tea that you select. And, you know, watch the St. George's folding washing now. Awesome. Sending that love and gratitude to your family. You know, just, you know, make it your moment, like smell the tea and just absorb yourself in that moment because it's your moment. A shower or a bath is probably my favorite way to be mindful. Firstly, you can't take your phone into the shower or the bath, so you're definitely unplugged. And second of all, you know, stand there and have the water cascading over you, and that is your shower of presence. So just and you know, if you've had a bad day, have a shower and wash it away, literally wash away the stress. You can feel it when you have a beautiful shower. And also just having a bath, like for us in our house, bath time is family time. We all get in the bath. We don't have a big bath. We're all in there and we're hanging out and we're having fun. And we light candles and we play music. And our bath time is really beautiful family time. And chocolate. eat chocolate. Yes, you can eat chocolate, mamas. So go eat some chocolate, but do it really mindfully. Like put the chocolate in your mouth and don't chew it, and savor it and get that sense of taste. And so, yeah, I'm like, do what works for you. I have chocolate every day. I love chocolate with my cup of tea. So, you can do these kind of things every day and make them your mindful moment. So be really mindful of your thoughts, of what you're actually thinking about. And yay, Lizzie does that too. Family of 5 in the bath. It's the best family time. Absolutely. So be really grateful. So it's really important. And, mamas, are we all good for time? Because, I want to make sure that I deliver this content really well for you. And I love to talk. So let me know if time's okay for you. So, we need to understand why we feel stressed and what's going on in our brain, because we absolutely need to get rid of, thank you, Sarah, that's great. Absolutely. Woohoo. We need to learn how to get rid of that stress. And what's actually going on in our brain is, there's a part of our brain called the amygdala, and he's like a guard dog, and he lives in the back of our brain. And he's actually a really important part of our brain because he's really, really there to protect you. Thanks, Mariana. Woohoo, you're enjoying my talk. Awesome. I could actually talk for like hours. So I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So he's in your brain and he's there to protect you, but he's coming out when you feel threatened. So if you imagine your little guard dog comes out every time you feel threatened. Now, if you are a caveman and you're walking down the road and there's a lion, you definitely know to run in that situation. Your brain tells you there's a lion. But what's happening in our everyday world is we're being triggered by stressful situations that are actually in our imagination. They're not actually real. The stress that we're causing and manifesting for ourselves is not real. So we're constantly feeling threatened, which means our amygdala in our brain is constantly being triggered and fired. And we're kind of in this state of what's called fight or flight. So we've got two systems in our body. We've got a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. So our parasympathetic nervous system is when we start to relax, when we start to take a breath, we're actually telling our body to rest and regenerate. So this is our nervous system. So when we start to practice mindfulness and we start to take a moment, we're teaching our body to rest. Now, most people are stuck on fight or flight, and they're constantly in this sense where they're kind of in this anxiety and they're almost on the edge. We know when we kind of feel like that, and we're not allowing our body to rest and rejuvenate, which is why we're not sleeping properly. It's why we're getting sick. You can eat organic food, do yoga every day, but if you have stress in your body, you are not going to be healthy. You need to get rid of that stress. So we have a good amount of stress that protects us, but a lot of the stress we have in this day and age is really toxic. So we need to get rid of that. And the best tool that you have is in your body. It is your breath. Your breath is just the most amazing tool. You can put your hand on your tummy. You can take 10 deep breaths. You can teach your children to just take a few deep breaths. And by doing that, you will definitely switch those systems over. And you can start with 1, 2, 3 breaths. And in time, just 10 deep breaths before you go to sleep. 10 deep breaths when you wake up in the morning. Now, even if you're standing in the kitchen and you can hear the kids going crazy, you hold on to the counter, you feel your feet connected to the ground, and you just take 10 deep breaths and you go out of that head and into the heart space. So you just being mindful and using the breath to understand that your body needs to relax. That's a really great lesson. So we've got the amygdala. Beautiful. I love belly breathing with my kids, and they put their teddies on their bellies. That's beautiful, Andrea. And kids love this. They resonate with this so much. So we've got the amygdala in our brain, and we're going to imagine our brain is a house, and the amygdala is at the bottom, and at the bottom of the house. And at the top of our house, we've got the prefrontal cortex right at the front of our brain. And the front of the house completely controls the upstairs of the brain, controls the downstairs. So if you imagine a house, you've got upstairs and downstairs. So upstairs of the brain controls the downstairs. So your amygdala is in the back of your brain, and that's where you're getting frustrated, and that's where you're starting to feel angry in the amygdala. And when the amygdala is triggered, it actually floods your brain with chemicals, and it's connected to the hippocampus, which is where our memories are. So that's why kids kind of go into this big meltdown. You can't reason with them. Their brain is flooded with chemicals, and you need to wait until that prefrontal cortex at the front of their brain comes back into action. And this is why we practice yoga and meditation and being mindful, because we're strengthening the prefrontal cortex. So being really mindful and, allowing ourselves to relax and take a break, we're strengthening the part of our brain, which in time, the amygdala is not going to fire so much. So that's why it's so, so important that we have our mindful cup of tea. And you can see the little cards I've made, and have a mindful walk and a sleepy love. This is so beautiful. And I didn't even know this, but very recently I was told that there's actually a whole theory around this particular meditation called sleep talk. But I go in every night, and I've got my 2 babies, they're sharing a room, and every night I just tell them everything I didn't tell them during the day. If I got really frustrated, which is often, I'm like, I'm sorry, mummy got frustrated. I tell them I love them. I alleviate all that mummy guilt in the moments where they're sleeping and they're peaceful, and I'm with them, and it's beautiful when your kids are asleep. And this goes to their higher consciousness, and they hear you. And I've been told that by doing this, you are actually healing your children and you're healing yourself. This helps with anxiety. This helps with self-regulation. So just going in and talking to your children when they're sleeping and telling them all the things you wanted to tell them that day is really such a beautiful practice. And yes, eat chocolate. You can all eat lots of chocolate. So self-care. So it's so, so, so important, mamas, that you fill up your cup so that you have so much love and so much light that other people can come and drink from your cup, and you're not going to be depleted. Because as mothers, we serve everybody else before we serve ourselves, everybody else. And we need to understand that you are the most important person in your life. And if you are not elevating yourself and looking after yourself, if you are sick, you cannot take care of your family. So being mindful that your energy and your self-care is so, so important. So filling up that cup by taking a break, and when you're soothing yourself, you're soothing your children. I am a much better mother when I've taken a moment to just manage my own, emotional regulation. I'm a much calmer mother when I've sat down and I've had a cup of tea, or, whatever it might be that I choose to do in that moment. So be really mindful of what's going on in terms of your inner critic or your self-talk. Because as we spoke before, the mind is thinking all the time, and a lot of those thoughts you're having are just repeated. And I'll tell you, I've got a background in psychology. 60% of your thoughts are negative. That is not serving you in the best way. So start to be mindful of what are you actually thinking about, because you can start to change those thought patterns by practicing mindfulness. The more gratitude you practice, the more you're starting to reprogram your brain. So in time, those the kind of habits that you've created, you're going to start replacing those with good conscious habits. So it's really important to become mindful of what you're actually thinking about. And it's so important that we speak our truth. I know it's difficult for some mums to say, hey, I'm not having a great time. I'm really struggling. I feel really overwhelmed. They go to mother's group and everything's fine, and they're kind of like struggling. They're struggling for a breath. So be really honest. If you are struggling, I've seen psychologists, they are fantastic. I knew when I was pregnant, I was having a lot of anxiety around having a baby with another man after my divorce. And I went and saw a psychologist, and I knew that I was, in my irrational mind. And we have 3 minds. We have the wise mind, the emotional mind, and the irrational mind. You want to be in your wise mind as much as you can. But I knew I wasn't there. I knew I was thinking irrationally. So I went and I processed it. And as a result, I've had a joyful experience having another child. And I'm so much more connected to my partner now. But I had to manage that, and I had to speak my truth and practice loving kindness, towards yourself and towards others. The world needs more kindness, and it starts with you. It really, really does. So gratitude, I'm a massive advocate for gratitude. And, I've created this beautiful 40-page mindfulness journal that you can use on your mindfulness journey. And on every page, what are you grateful for? It's such a beautiful practice. And being grateful just cultivates so much more love and joy into your life. So the lighthouse mindset. So we've spoken a lot about this already, but I wanted to leave this with you. It's such a beautiful analogy. I really believe that mothers have this beautiful ability to be a lighthouse and uplifting all of those around them, their family, their community. That you're just this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beacon of light. And what happens when you're running around and you're busy and you're kind of engulfed in the madness? Well, your light starts to fade. So you need to be really mindful that you've got this beautiful light and you've got to let it shine, because when your light shines, you give permission for other people's lights to shine. And so, being mindful of what you're thinking about, leaving that kind of negative loop cycle, because ladies, we have 9 seconds before we have one thought and then we attract another thought of the same nature. So if your thoughts are negative, you're just getting yourself into this negative thought pattern, and it's hard to get out of that again. And that's beautiful, Lizzie. The think tool, T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? K, is it kind? Absolutely. Being really mindful of what you're thinking about. You are manifesting your reality with your thoughts. You are manifesting things to happen in your life. When I was going through my divorce, I was manifesting drama. I went through a divorce and then I crashed my car and then my cat died. And I was just like, what is happening? It was just drama after drama. And I realized that I was manifesting all of this in my thought process. So now, I just manifest greatness. I manifested 150 mums onto my webinar. That's extraordinary for my first webinar. I put it out there. I wrote it on Facebook and I pretty much got there. I manifested my partner. I knew exactly the kind of guy I wanted to meet. I manifested my daughter. I knew she was coming. I knew she was going to be called Luna. I manifested all of that because my thoughts, I'm so aware of what I'm thinking about. And a big thought process is change your perception of motherhood. Yes, motherhood is hard and frustrating and challenging, but we can mother with ease and grace. If you believe that that's your motherhood journey, then that's what it will be. If you're tired and you're saying that you're tired and you're exhausted and you're frustrated, then that's how you're going to feel. But you can uplift yourself and you can change those thought processes by going, I love being a mother. I'm so grateful I'm a mother. Yes, I'm exhausted. My daughter still wakes every few hours. I'm so exhausted, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I'm a mother. Some people don't have that privilege. So, being really mindful and saying, motherhood, I can do this gracefully. I can do this with ease. Attract that energy that you like. And, really the way your mind is, you're just on the tip of this iceberg. So you've got your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So when you're doing things consciously and you're present and you're in the moment, this is where you can start to reprogram those old habits that are in your subconscious mind. So when you're doing things and you're not thinking about it, that's your subconscious. So by consciously practicing good habits, you in time replace the bad ones or the old ones. So I practice gratitude without even thinking about it now. And that's wonderful. It's a joyful way to live. So practice daily and journal. If you can take, just 30 seconds a day to write down what you're grateful for, or how you're feeling, or check in with yourself. It makes such a huge difference. So these are my top tips for mindful living. Absolutely be present. Spread kindness. And I'm happy to email this slide to people because I want you to print it out and I want you to stick it somewhere where you see it every day. These are my kind of top 10 rules. Spread kindness always. Absolutely respect yourself. You are so important and you need to have respect for yourself. Speak your truth. It's very, very important that you're absolutely true to who you are. Live with intention. Set an intention every morning. How do you want the morning to flow? If it manifests, it's smooth and the kids listen and you're out the door and, it's not 5 to 9 and you're kind of screaming. Just set that intention. Be really grateful. Gratitude is magic because it turns what we have into enough. Meditate whenever you can, even if it's for one moment. Breathe deeply whenever you can. It will absolutely help you stay grounded and in the moment. Practice acceptance. So, you are perfect. You are amazing. You are everything you're already meant to be. You're the mother that you're meant to be. You don't need fixing. I don't believe anyone needs fixing. We just need to elevate ourselves and really step into our power, because mothers are just beacons of light in the community. Absolutely be positive. Try and see the silver lining. Try and see the challenge as an opportunity. Have a really positive mindset, because it's all about mindset, and definitely shine your light. So mums, Q&A time. We've gone a little bit over, but it's 9 o'clock. So hit me up with any questions that you might have. And while you're thinking about some questions, I wanted to just share with you that, woohoo, I am launching my online program. This has been a year in the making, and I'm so excited. When I was making the videos, I was pregnant with Luna, and now she's 7 months old. So, you will get a 40-page beautiful mindfulness journal. You will get 50 lectures, activities, mindful moments. You will get positive affirmations. You will get downloadable tips, posters, and you can buy the course today on that link for only $97. And it's an early bird price, because the platform I'm using is actually on a US platform. So once the course goes live next week, it will be 97 US, which basically means that's 137 Australian. So by buying it right now, you get it for 97 Australian dollars. You've got lifetime access to the course, and I will continue to add content. I have so many ideas. I'm going to continue to add this content, and you're just going to continue to get new content from me on my course. So there's the link. There's a video if you want to go and watch the video, which tells you a little bit more about the course. So yeah, questions. Tell us a bit more about the calm bedtime routine you mentioned. So, bedtime for us is, it's the same as it always has been. We all have a bath, and we use candles in the bath. And, we've got this beautiful kind of calm down kids spray from Perfect Potion. So we use our calm down spray, or we use oils. We definitely use lavender oil or something in the bath that, it's like you're setting up this kind of sense of calm. We have absolutely no technology. In fact, we have no computer during the week at all. My son is 6 and he's far too obsessed with technology. So we have no technology for him. It's about that bath time routine, bedtime routine, lots of storytelling, lots of, stimulate. Like you don't want to overstimulate. You want kids to be calm before they go to bed. So, have a massage with each other. And thank you, Mariana. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Lizzie. Set the scene so that, Kyla, you've got, you're manifesting that kind of calm down routine. So everyone's going to have a different version of what feels calm, but think about engaging the senses, play some music, have some beautiful smells, have a warm bath, which is really sensory, snuggle up for a story, have that sense of touch. You can, just add little things into your routine. And definitely when your kids are asleep, you've got them asleep, go in and sit with them and tell them, whatever you want to tell them in that moment. But that relieves all of your mummy guilt that you may be feeling. And it goes to their higher self, and your kids will really resonate with that. So, Lizzie, look, no, Leo doesn't watch any TV, no iPad, nothing during the week. We don't do. My pleasure, Kyla. Thanks, Nikki. Oh yay, I didn't know you were on the call. Thanks. So if there's actually the link there that says Leonie Percy. You just have to click programs if you do want to buy the course. So yeah, during the week we have no technology at all. But at the weekends, yes, we watch movies, or maybe my son can go on a little bit of ABC Kids. But I try really, really hard to unplug and play. Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful, Carolyn. She's off to tell her daughter she loves her while she's sleeping. Isn't that beautiful? And oh, that's just so divine. So yeah, I'm all about unplug and play. I've read so many articles that talk about killing kids' imagination, killing their creativity, teaching them, it's just not conducive to their brain. And, when they go to school, there's not this big, it's not about empathy and resilience. It's about academic grades. And it's kind of like all that creativity, it's kind of like it's up to mums and dads and the family to teach that now. So I'm like, get bored, get creative. I think it's way more benefit to your child. And TV's absolutely, I haven't watched TV for years. I wrote my book because I don't watch TV anymore. So thanks, Lily. Yeah, 20 minutes of DVD trying to get dinner. Yeah, that's fine. With 3 children, I mean, I used the TV as a single mum. I had to get dinner ready. I absolutely had to. I had to entertain my child. So, I think a little bit of TV is absolutely fine. But just be really mindful, and also be really mindful of what they're watching. Because, we want kids to be kids for as long as they can be. So does anyone else have any more questions? Yeah, Peter Rabbit. Oh, and by the way, my little boy Leo was on Play School a couple of weeks ago teaching Humpty Dumpty yoga. So if you want to go check that out, it's called Humpty's Big Adventure. And he's on the episode teaching Humpty on the yoga episode. So yeah, ABC Kids has beautiful programs for children. So a little bit of TV is okay. But, Steve Jobs did not let his kids play on an iPad. So, and that's pretty crazy. So has anyone else got any more questions for me? Hey, Emma, any tips for dealing with a spirited 3-year-old girl? 3-year-old boy, sorry. Love his fire, but he pushes my buttons and it can take a lot not to get into the battle. Yeah, you know what, Emma? My son challenges me every day. Like without fail, I feel myself every day kind of getting really frustrated. I can feel, I don't know if you were on the webinar where we talked about the amygdala in your brain being fired all the time. Well, it's like my son, it's like he goes into my brain and he gets my amygdala and he shakes it really hard. This is what kids do. They push our buttons, and it's really hard not to have that confrontation with your child. And I think coming down to their level, talking to them with a really clear voice. I was told, with boys specifically, they can only understand one thing at a time. So if you're in the kitchen and you're shouting an instruction, they can't process that. You have to go down on their level. You have to look them in the eye, and you have to make sure that piece of information that you've just told them has actually got through. And that works well. I mean, my son's a little bit older now. 3-year-olds, we love a spirited 3-year-old because we know they're going to be resilient and survive in life. But, if they're pushing your buttons, walk away, take some deep breaths, and then come back into the situation, because a moment of patience when you're frustrated with your children saves a lifetime of regret. And I really feel, when I was going through my divorce, and, I just, I worry that, I wasn't a mindful mum at all. And you're shaping your child's brain at that point. So, take a moment to just self-care and then come back into that moment. And, don't be too attached to the outcome. If you get stressed and you shout, that's fine. You're human, but you hug it out. You always hug it out, and you always say, "I'm sorry, darling. I'm sorry, mummy just got cross." And then you let it go. Don't hold on to the guilt. It's only going to hurt you more. Okay, beautiful mummies. No worries, Emma. I hope that helps. Yay. So thanks so much for being online. And I forgot to mention that we're actually going to be gifting this beautiful A1 coloring poster. So there's been quite a few of you online, and I really, really, really appreciate that. Oh, thanks, Lydia. That's just what you needed to hear. Woohoo! Let's all go hug it out. Love it. So I'm going to be gifting this beautiful A1 coloring poster because I'm so grateful that you took the time to be on the call. And I'm going to randomly select it. So I'm going to get all your numbers. I'm going to put it into a website, and I will be sending a recording. And I really would love you to share this recording with other mothers. Share it. I want them to learn. I'm really passionate about my message. So I will be gifting this, and I will be posting it to you. Hey, Claire, joined late but heard what I needed to hear. Yay! People say that about my book. It's really beautiful. They read a chapter or they open it to a page and they go, I just needed to hear that. So I actually wrote Mother Rom like a yoga class so that you would just turn to a page and you would find what you needed. Thanks, Laurie. Thanks. Great to have you on the call. Thank you. I'm an inspiration. Yay. It's just, I just let my light shine. That's all. It's about letting your light shine and being a beacon for others. And you all have the ability to do that. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it so much. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Michelle. Night, night, Mariana. Thank you. Thank you so much. Namaste. Hey, Tamara. Thanks for being on the call. Thank you.